There you go. Okay, well, come on up.
So I've gone round the wrong way.
Do you need anything for...
Yeah, I was just going to put this on.
You can reassure Steve that he wasn't in the picture. He was out of frame.
He was out of frame.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
That's all right. Do you want to... There's some on the left and on the right, so...
While everybody's waiting, there were some agendas out the front. There was about 20 copies, and they also have the questions that we've asked Shane to address during this meeting. And there's also some sign-on sheets so that we know who's come to the meeting.
We just installed Office, but...
This is Mike's fault.
Is this PowerPoint?
We could also
Promise we've only just started. Everything's... Test PowerPoint. Yeah. I have, but it keeps coming up with this thing saying it's not.
That's all right, we need to help.
This was meant to make Yes. Oh well, I should go on your... Are we able to get a copy of it?
I can email it to you.
Yeah, sounds great.
If you write email address to us.
If you leave it on the computer, you have it.
Oh, that's true too.
That's right about it.
He's forward, Eric. Forward, Eric should normally remain on. There you go.
It's kind of slide mode, isn't it?
Pardon me?
It's kind of slide mode, isn't it?
What do
That's
you want
right.
to be?
I think that's right. Can I stand it? Yes. Click on it. Sorry. I just want to click it. There won't be very helpful. Sorry about that. Can you all, or am I obscuring it in the wrong spot? My name is Julie Pearson and I work at Chief Minister's Treasury and Economic Development Directorate, and there's a couple of others from our group here. We wanted to give you an update on where we're at with the work we're doing to construct the improvements for some of the Dickson intersections. Some of you are probably aware of that, having got a letterbox flyer in your letterbox, as I'm sure many of you are local, or a letterbox flyer to the shop at Dickson, and or seeing the ads in the newspaper. Also, I think some of you were involved previously with the project when we were in the design phase, involved with some discussions last year. So back in the 2014-15 budget, some money was allocated for some work at Dickson to look at the intersections to basically improve the traffic efficiency and safety, and also acknowledging really the fact that there's a lot of redevelopment and revitalisation work proposed in that Dickson shopping centre area, as we're probably all aware. As I said, we had consultation late last year with this organisation and a number of other stakeholders. We looked at design upgrades for 3 intersections. Antill Badham Street, Antill Cowper Street and the shop access road, and we're also doing some work still looking at some design options down here at Cowper Dickson Place. So it's these three that we've completed design work for, A, B and C as we're referring to them. I think they're on your flyer, if you've got it in your letterboxes, A, B and C. And they're the three that we're starting to do work on. We've awarded the construction contract to Cord Civil, so they're one of the local contractors. You've probably seen the VMSs go up, there's project signs up as well. They're in the midst of the final stages of getting their approvals to get out on site. We were hoping that it would be early this week, we're going to be later this week, we'll be starting to put the compound out and probably start to see some physical works happening towards the end of this month. We will be finished before Christmas, and as I said previously, we're still looking at some design improvements for intersection D, which are currently being developed. It's anticipated that they'll come back to the committee, just like the other stakeholders, for some discussion in the near future. So, intersection A, as you'll all be aware, I took this photo because it was a particular bugbear of mine, actually, being a Downer resident with this particular intersection. And for those of us who are all local, will be keenly aware of this right-hand turn clash with through lane on Antill. So this is the first intersection I'll talk about. I know it's a technical drawing, so I'll just click through basically what we're doing, but as an overview, we're basically putting some signals at this intersection. So we'll get some new traffic lights on Antill Street. We'll also have some signalised pedestrian crossings, which this is not an easy spot to get across at the moment, so I think that'll be seen as an improvement generally. My bugbear is going to be fixed with a bit of a turning lane there, personal plus I see that one as. We're also looking at putting on-road cycling lanes through Antill Street. They're a bit stop-start at the moment. I don't know if any of you ride along there, but if you do, you're probably aware that there's pieces of cycle lane, pieces without. And roads, ACT, you will have seen, have done some reseal work further down on Badham Street, and we're going to finish that off as part of our works and redo the line marking in that area. If you've seen that, you might have wondered why there's a bit of a gap at the moment, but we've figured that it was a bit silly to come in and do that reseal and then us to come along and want to change line marking around. So it's the overview of what we're doing at intersection A. So to do that and to have a signalised intersection here, we actually need to take out some of this on-street parking that's on the side of Antill Street, particularly the ones in the middle of an intersection. We've also got to remove this tree here, which has got a tree removal sign on it. Some of you may have seen that last week or the week before. We're looking at improving the path connections through here, and unfortunately that tree is just in the way there. And also we've been making sure that whatever happens on this block, which I'm sure you're keenly watching, is going to be integrated with what we're doing at this intersection. So they've got our design drawings just to make sure that there's not a gap there. So it's pretty much intersection A. Intersection B is at Antill Cowper Street. So this is looking westbound and we're over here. Not so much is happening at this intersection. We are looking at making some improvements though, so I'll run through those. One of the main things we're trying to do here is bring the on-road cycle lanes through. It's a bit of a, it's kind of got this wide curbside lane thing happening at the moment, and then it kind of disappears. So we want to run it through, and to do that we've got to widen out. So you'll see this curb alignments moving, and we're also narrowing the centre island a little bit. Also because we're doing so much work here, and while we're here we don't want somebody else to have to come back and interrupt traffic again. Like in the future, you'll have noticed that the pavement's not that good through there, so we're doing some pavement rehabilitation works, trying to make sure that disruptions are minimised as much in the area as possible. It's on Roads ACT's maintenance list, and we're going to make sure we get there now. At intersection C, we've been looking at not really doing anything at the intersection per se, but we've been looking more at the pedestrian movements in this area. It's not a very easy spot to get across, and sorry, my photos, next time I do this I'm going to do the photos in the same orientation as the plans. So you have to turn your heads a little bit. So we're looking at putting a pedestrian refuge island and widening out some crossings, and also getting the path around at this location. It's a bit of a desire line across here, and it's kind of an indirect route that sort of sends you off into the middle of the car park. So we're hoping that will improve the situation. Intersection C here, it's not a fabulous shot, but this is from Dickson Place looking across. We're looking at improvements at this location as well. As I said before, we're still working on the design work. It's a rather complicated and constrained location. There's a lot happening there, particularly if you're a cyclist or pedestrian across on that Trunksville Park. Sullivan's Creek will be aware of how busy that is in the AM and PM periods. My 9-year-old finds it a bit complicated to get across. So we'll also be talking with Pedal Power, Dickson Shops and Roads ACT about our thoughts at this location. We're keenly aware of how busy Antill Street in particular is in the mornings and the evenings. However, we think that it's once again that pain for some gain trade-off, but we're trying to make sure everybody's aware of what's coming. So as I said, we've done a letterbox drop, some ads, some on-site signage. We're looking at limiting the working hours, trying to reduce the impacts, particularly those peak periods, making sure that we don't close the roads. What was I going to say? Maintaining 2 eastbound lanes on Antill Street, so we're intending to use the on-street parking. So there'll be some temporary closures of more of that parking lane in the short term, while we do the work to try and make sure we can get as much traffic through. We're looking at the site compound, make sure it's off the road. And we're also doing works for at A and C at the same time, and works at B separately. So we won't be working at Badham Street intersection at the same time as we're doing Cowper. I've noted up here that we're looking at doing A and C first. We may actually do it the other way around. There's a few issues under discussion at the moment, so we may actually be at Antill Cowper first and then come back and do Antill Badham. But definitely trying to only be working in one location at a time. I think Simon here, I'll just do the first bit if that's alright. Simon's got a list, so if you wanted to put yourself on an email list, there's a sheet on the back here.
If you like,
Or maybe just even put it on the table.
Yep.
If that's right. Okay, sorry to cut you off. Questions?
Yeah, when you're putting the new traffic lights to control traffic on Antill Street, will they have filter facilities? Because the existing lights that are between Cowper and Majura can be a nightmare. They don't filter in both directions. If you go down one street, you can filter right, no worries. Go the other way, wait forever. They don't have a right turn filter.
Yeah, I'll have to. I can't remember off the top of my head.
No,
sorry.
but the new ones, I think we need to make sure they do allow you to filter, because
I'll make a note.
in peak hour, when there's lots of traffic coming through, you can't get a right turn anyway, whether the lights are there or not, without a filter.
I know that they've looked at definitely optimising how the signals work.
It's really important, I think.
But I can't say
People
no,
urge,
no.
and the next thing there's a crash.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll make a
sorry, before, was that because we have a question here?
I have a question.
Mine's a very short question.
You go first, you go next.
Hi, good evening, Max. What sort of time frame is this work going over for these three or four intersections?
The work at intersection A will take a bit longer because we're doing a bit more with having to get cable loops and the whole signal set up there. We're anticipating that'll be about a 12-week program, and we're also then anticipating about 6 weeks for the second intersection. So we'll be doing, when we're doing the works at Antill Badham, we'll also do the works for the pedestrian crossing at sea, which is a much smaller exercise. And then as a separate exercise, we'll be doing the...
And the commencement date, proposed commencement date?
We were hoping to be on site this week, but it's looking like at the end of this month.
It's quite soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hence why we thought we'd take today's meeting as an opportunity to talk to, make sure people know what's going on.
Yeah, a few years ago, you upgraded, or the government upgraded the intersection of Melrose Drive and Hindmarsh Drive to what I'd regard as best practice, where the pedestrian crossings were offset on the two halves of the divided roads, so that you could cross one half without having to stop traffic on the other half, and then you could complete the crossing without having to stop road traffic on the Dickson road crossing anymore. Are you going to use that?
We're not taking
Design.
that approach at this location. It's a lot shorter crossing than Melrose Hindmarsh. I know where you mean. I don't know whether you've got any views on that. Sorry to pick on you, Ben.
Melrose Hindmarsh is a four-way intersection where
Yeah.
turn movements were strong.
Yeah.
A bit different to the T's, but
Yeah, but can you go back to the diagram of intersection A?
Leon, I think one of the key things at the T intersections is where you position the pedestrian movements to
Yeah.
allow those right turn movements to happen at the same time.
Yeah, and there's a problem. If you want to cross from here to here, you have to wait for the traffic lights to get to here. Then you have to wait until it's safe to cross the entire road to get to here. And then if you get to those, if you're a bit late leaving here, you've got to wait again to finish your crossing, and it's pretty much the same in reverse. And if this intersection is 20 metres wide, you can legally cross here, but the only time you'll be able to cross this section will be at the time when the right arrow is showing green, and cars are going to run you down.
Sorry,
It's like the
Do you want me to
intersection.
respond?
Yeah.
We'll be here all night talking about the technical intricacies of intersection design. The design that's on the board allows for the pedestrian movement and the right turn movement to run at the same time, which takes a phase out of the operation of the intersection and reduces the waiting times.
The waiting time for cars.
Again, we won't get into it here tonight.
Okay.
I'm interested in the timing also. You did say Christmas.
Which Christmas?
Which Christmas? I mean, you haven't got the same contractors that are doing Constitution, haven't you? No, they're different contractors.
A different
Oh,
contract.
yeah.
Because you'll never get it finished if you employ those people.
okay, so is there a question?
No, I think
Okay.
we
There's a
don't.
comment. Okay.
It's a comment.
Okay, any questions out there? Any more questions?
It was pretty straightforward.
Okay, great. Okay, well, thanks, Julie,
you.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just save it over, okay? So, who do we have doing the city to Gungaon?